Ever heard of a plant-based diet and wondered, what are people talking about? Find out on this next episode of Digest This.
Welcome to Digest This, the show that helps you revolutionize your digestive health. Here are your hosts, Dr. Liz Cruz and Tina Nunziato.
Hello and welcome to Digest This. I am Dr. Liz Cruz and I have the beautiful Tina Nunziato sitting right here by my side. Thank you so much for joining us. If you are a first-time listener, welcome. We love that you are starting the journey with us, and we hope that you will stay on this journey. And if you're an established or an ongoing listener, we love you, and we love that you take the time on a weekly basis to hang out with us for 15, 20 minutes.
And if you are an ongoing listener, you would also, we're hoping that you're watching us on YouTube, because today you would see Dr. Cruz in all her glory with the curly hair. I almost didn't have room for her in the...
I know, I had to
scoot over.
I had to ask her to scoot over so we could fit the hair in.
Yes. So if you're not watching us on YouTube, go check it out, because you're going to see her hair. It's no do-rag.
That's right,
today,
that's right.
Which is awesome.
No do-rag. This is all natural.
No hat. It's all in your full...
I mean, I did have the help of
Puerto Rican
5 little hot curlers.
Curling glory.
Yes, so check us out. Check us out on YouTube. Why not?
Exactly.
Why not? So, oh my goodness, plant-based diet. So I was listening to another podcast or a YouTube video or something. I don't know. I was listening to something about a woman who had been diagnosed with colon cancer, who went in just for a screening colonoscopy. And lo and behold, she gets a call like a week later, like, you need to come in. We need to talk. And she was diagnosed with colon cancer. And it was like it was either stage 3 or 4. It was like advanced. It wasn't like just a stage 1 cancer.
She wasn't having any symptoms or anything.
No. And she was like, I thought I was living my best life. I was eating the standard American diet. I was sticking to the pyramid, is what she said.
Yes.
And she was so cute. She was like, I was sticking to the pyramid. I was following the pyramid. And
we have to do a podcast on the pyramid.
We do.
Yeah.
We do.
I'll write that down.
We need to write that down.
Yeah.
The pyramid. Yeah. So and lo and behold, she gets diagnosed. So she started on her journey. She ends up deciding that she is going to get treated naturally, holistically.
It's with stage 3 and 4 cancer?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And she starts doing research on holistic treatment, and she comes across, she ends up going to like some sort of a not a retreat, but like a place where she stayed for a while, and they taught her how to eat plant-based diet. And so the funny part to me was that she's like, I was like, what's a plant-based diet? What does that mean? And I was like, oh my goodness.
A lot of people say it.
A lot of people say it, and a lot of people don't know what is a plant-based diet. I mean, exactly what does that mean? I'm going to go outside and pick some shrubs, some green little leaves from my tree and little green weeds that are growing. I mean, what is a plant-based diet? Do you get that
very good
question a lot, like when you're doing your wellness nutritional consults?
I typically don't talk about a plant-based diet with people
Okay.
in the 30 minutes that I have with them on the phone, just because
Right.
there's so many other things to address than going into plant-based diet. But because it's complicated, right? And most people aren't eating a plant-based diet right now, and you can't you just can't basically touch on a plant-based
Right,
diet. I mean, that's
right.
something you really got to dive into and spend a lot of time on. So
Yeah, true, very true. And I just want to say, by the way, that the purpose of me saying what I just said was not to tell you if you have stage 3, 4 cancer to go and start a holistic, treatment. But this is, yeah, I just want, so that's my little disclaimer, my little CYA statement. That's right. But I thought it would be great. I told Tina, I was like, maybe we need to talk about plant-based.
No, I think
what
it's
does
good
it
to define
mean?
it. I mean, we did do a podcast. We did do a podcast back in 2016 on the benefits of a plant-based diet.
Right.
So if you want to listen to that one too, you can go back and listen to that one. But I think it is good to define a plant-based diet so that people understand what all does that consist of.
Exactly. So a plant-based diet is basically a diet that is mostly based on foods that come from plants. Okay, so your vegetables, your fruit, your whole grains, your nuts, seeds, even oils, you know, that are made from avocado, olives, you know, flaxseed. I mean, you have all coconut, hemp, exactly. So basically, it's.
Did you also say legumes?
Oh, legumes, beans, right? Yeah. So it's all that is all considered plant-based. Okay.
So let's talk about them again
Right.
in detail. So the first one, obviously, you would think of plant-based diet, vegetables,
Right.
right? I mean, obviously, vegetables are coming from the ground. Most of them, some of them from trees. But obviously that, you know, you would say, yes, that would be plant-based, right? Vegetables and fruit,
Right.
That would be pretty natural. I think where people are like, oh, what about nuts and seeds? Like, I didn't know that was maybe plant-based. Yes, nuts and seeds come from plants. Actually, peanuts are the only nut that's grown in the ground. And they actually say that with peanuts, you should try to avoid peanuts and do more of the other nuts that are grown from trees. It's more tree nuts, because the peanuts in the ground, they have a lot of bacteria
And
around
mold.
them.
And mold.
Yes.
Right.
So we try to get people to move from peanut butter to things like almond butter, cashew nut butter, hazelnut butter, even sunflower butter.
Right.
They make like a nut butter out of sunflower seeds, which is really cool.
And if you are completely against getting off peanut butter, then at least do organic peanut butter. All right? Organic peanut butter.
Yeah, and then I think too, like whole grains can be confusing for people. So let's talk
It is
about
confusing,
what whole grains are. Okay, you know, you've got rice, right, and you've got brown rice, and you've got and so the difference between
I think people don't consider rice as a grain. I mean, I know it is,
Yeah.
but I think it's great that you brought that up because
it's made from a plant.
Yeah,
right?
and I
It
think
grows.
people in general, like some people, don't realize that rice it goes under the category of grains.
Yes, and rice is it's tricky because like white rice, like I try to teach people the difference between white rice and like a jasmine rice, for example, because white rice, there's a lot of process that a white rice goes through that basically is stripped of a lot of its vitamins and minerals. So I always encourage patients to not do white rice, but to do jasmine rice. So there are whole grains meaning they come right from the plant, they're not processed, right? So brown rice, black rice, wild rice, jasmine rice, basmati rice, all those not processed rices, right? Those are really good for you.
And by the way, brown rice, a great source of fiber. Black rice actually has a lot of antioxidants, which are great. Great for your body for fighting off abnormal, radicals, abnormal cells in your body. So
Quinoa is another whole grain. Farro is another one. Which,
that's the one you made the other day.
Yeah, I was trying to look for some new grains. I mean, we tend to rotate our grains. It is important to rotate all your foods, by the way, even your veggies and your fruits. Because all vegetables and fruit and grains and beans, they all have their own vitamin and mineral makeup, right? Like spinach has its own vitamins and minerals, and apples have their own vitamins and minerals. So if you just keep eating the same green or veggie or the same fruit all the time, you're only giving your body the vitamins and minerals from that fruit or veggie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, I do want to just add in one little funny story.
Oh no!
Because Tina's saying,
you keep looking at me in this funny way. I'm like, what?
Because Tina is saying, you have to rotate your fruit, your vegetables, and I just want to say that she's really great about doing that here at the house when she goes grocery shopping, but inevitably the kids and I always do this to Tina, and I always feel so bad. Like, we're going through this phase where we eat apples, and then all of a sudden the kids and I, we decide no more apples. And literally there'll be 3 apples that have been sitting there that go rotten. Tina's like, what's going on? You guys have been eating apples like crazy. And now I'm like, yeah, we're out of that phase. We're on to the next
we're
phase.
on to bananas.
Yeah, and it happened like last week with pears, because she'd been buying a lot of pears, especially for our son, one of our sons who loves pears. And then there's 3 pears sitting there getting all brown.
Yep.
Sorry,
It's
honey.
crazy. But it happens, right? So
It does,
what's the
it
next
does.
fruit we're moving on to? And at least
Right.
we're rotating through our fruits, and which is fine.
Yeah.
We get in these phases, but it's really funny. But anyway, so those are some examples of whole grains. Let's talk about some examples of legumes and
Legumes,
beans.
yeah, the beans. I mean, if you come to our pantry, we will give you a nice example of all the beans. I mean, we've got, red beans, garbanzo beans, kidney beans, northern white beans,
Black beans,
red beans, and they're all organic. We do get the canned. Okay, I mean, we're very, very busy. And so, we're working full time. We have 3 teenagers here. So it never stops. Okay. So would there be maybe a better way? Like, should we take buy a bag of beans and soak them overnight?
That too. So
we
it
do that
depends,
with lentils.
like with
yeah.
soups. So we do also have all forms of lentils. We
Right.
have green lentils, we have orange lentils, and then we have like a 10 bean mix that are raw.
Right.
And those beans have to get soaked before, and I typically use those beans in soups.
Right.
So I'll soak those beans in the morning that I know I'm going to make a soup that night, and then we have them ready. But yes, the canned beans are typically used in salads.
And we cook with them. If I make rice and beans, Puerto
Right.
Rican rice and beans, growing up, my mom always soaked the beans
And used a pressure cooker.
And used a pressure cooker. But it takes extra steps.
Right.
And so, look, we're trying to continue to still live our busy lives, but still eat as healthy as possible. So the next best would be those organic beans in a can, and they're so good. And like Tina said, we're just
the main thing with the canned beans is just make sure that the only ingredient is beans.
Yes,
and
yes.
water. Like
No
make sure there's
sugar, no
or
sugar.
even salt. Like if there's salt in
Yeah.
the beans, there doesn't need to be salt
Nope,
in beans.
no.
So yeah, if you buy the organic and that's all that's in there, then it's a little bit healthier.
Absolutely. Yeah, so we do a lot of beans, legumes, I would think that we average, I'll make rice and beans, you do the soup, with the lentils. And I take a can of garbanzos with me to work because every day I will order a salad and put like half a can of garbanzos just to bulken up the salad and add a little extra protein.
Absolutely.
So let's see, those are our legumes, beans, we've talked about seeds, nuts.
Nuts, yeah.
Nuts are so good for you.
Yeah.
And yes, they're plant-based. In fact, I remember the first time I saw cashews, I was on a trip in India, and I remember it was a tree, and it had like this fruit-looking type thing, and you would open it up, and the cashews were in there.
So cool.
Yeah, it was so cool. And but nuts are such a great source of protein and such a great source of healthy fats and all sorts of other like selenium, nutrients. I just want to say nutrients, just such a great source of all of that.
You just have to make sure with nuts and seeds. And so seeds, you've got like sesame seeds, sunflower seeds, you've got pepitas, which are pumpkin seeds. And I say pepitas because the pepitas are raw. And so the key with nuts and seeds is that you eat them raw.
Yes.
And unsalted, right? So the difference between raw and cooked seeds is that a seed can be baked or fried or and this goes for nuts too, but they can be cooked. And so once you cook a seed or a nut, it changes the chemical composition, and those good healthy fats become not good healthy fats anymore. They become trans fats. So it's really important if you're going to eat nuts and seeds that you eat them raw and not salted, because again, most of them are salted with white table salt,
Exactly.
which is very, very bad for you.
Yeah, it's true. And the other thing is like I get very excited when I see some salts that have been salted with sea salt. However, if they've been roasted, like Tina said, like it just changes the composition of that nut, and you've pretty much lost the benefit of that nut. Tina, do you have to be vegetarian or vegan to be plant-based?
No, you can eat a plant-based diet 80% of the time, and then throw in fish and some cheeses and meats and things like that. If that's that's more of like a Mediterranean style diet,
right.
So you don't have to be vegetarian or vegan to eat plant-based. You can decide, I'm going to eat, half of my diet is going to be plant-based and the other half can be animal-based. But that's basically the difference, is you're eating from a plant versus eating from an animal. So you don't have to go 100% plant-based to, work on eating a plant-based diet.
Yeah, and there are definitely studies out there that show that a plant-based diet definitely is much better for your overall health. Decreases the risk of heart disease, decreases the risk of certain cancers.
Diabetes.
It's anti-inflammatory. Okay, because you're eating from the earth. Right. You're eating from the earth, and so it's definitely something to consider. Okay, and again, you don't have to be vegetarian. If you're someone that's like, there's no way I could ever come off my meat, or that I could ever eliminate all my sweets. I mean, look, you can minimize it, and you don't have to be vegetarian or even vegan to be on plant-based, but definitely a healthier way to eat.
A lot of people start with like meatless Mondays.
Right.
They just start with one day a week, we're not going to eat meat. Maybe we eat beans instead, right? So that would be a great day to make a soup, right, without a meat. And so once you start on Monday and you're like, oh, that's pretty easy, maybe I'll add in another day, right?
Yeah,
and you just kind of, that's how it happened for us. We just kind of gradually stopped eating meat.
Yes.
I mean, we do still eat fish, but we do not eat any meat anymore in our house. So that's...
And Tina is a great example of someone who many, many years ago said, there's no way I could ever be vegetarian.
Yeah.
She's got this Italian girl here who grew up with pasta and meat.
Meatballs and sausage.
Meatballs and sausage. Yeah. And so...
Lots of beef.
Yes.
Lots of pork. We ate lots of pork growing up.
I'm here to tell you that it can be done.
It can be done.
If Tina did it, anyone could do it.
Exactly.
All right. Anyways, I think that wraps it up.
Yeah.
It's a great topic. If you have any questions, if you want to connect with us, you can connect with us on our website, drlizcruz.com. There is a magenta colored button on the homepage, and you can click that and schedule a 30-minute wellness consult that is free to you, and you can do it from anywhere because it's done over the phone. Okay, and you do not have to be a patient. This is for anyone. And if you have not rated our show, please rate us and please give us a 5-star rating, because that'll help other people like you to find us. And lastly, if you have not subscribed to our podcast, please subscribe so that you never miss an episode. Thank you so much for joining us. It means the world to us that you're taking the time to hang out with us, and we will catch you on the next podcast.
Thank you for joining Dr. Liz Cruz and Tina Nunziato. To learn more about their revolutionary products and services, go online to www.drlizcruz.com.